Good afternoon. This is Cronkite Sports Live. I'm Brett Deckert alongside Kerry Crowley.
Good news, if you chose us as your late round sleeper picks in your college sports anchor draft, you, my friends, are about to get some first round production.
And as for Kerry, here's to hoping he hangs around on your bench, even for just a few weeks.
Fair point, Brett, I guess. I mean, I was picked behind the Boom Goes the Dynamite character.
Kerry, that's horrible. It's safe to say that guy isn't in college anymore and certainly isn't an anchor anywhere. And yet owners chose him over you.
A man can have his hopes, he can have his dreams if it starts in the heart.
Boom goes the dynamite. Let's get started. Greg Powers might be the best hockey coach almost nobody's heard of. 4 seasons behind the bench of the Sun Devil hockey team, 4 national tournament appearances. He set the program record for best win-loss total and then broken it the next year each of the last 3 seasons. 2 Final Fours, 1 national title, but here's what you should be sitting down for. He's got a record of 129 wins, 23 losses, 8 overtime losses. Out of all college hockey coaches with at least 100 wins, Greg Powers has the best winning percentage of all time. If you didn't know him before today's show, here's your lucky day. Here he is in studio with Allison Cummings.
Arizona State hockey is back in the desert, and joining me here today to break down everything Arizona State hockey, we have head coach Greg Powers. Great to see you again, Coach.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. Now, you've been a pretty busy guy lately with conditioning camp, and now it's the M&G scrimmage. We got a chance to see the D2 elite team before yesterday for a shot at the roster. 10 of those guys are going to be performing again tonight for the D1 game. Who stood out to you last night?
I think they all played really well, and that's why they're moving on to tonight's game. But as far as new players, Liam Puig, a big defenseman from New York, who came in and we knew a little bit about, but is walking on to try and make our Division I team. He's just a man amongst boys, 6'5", and he's built like a truck. He plays well, smart, and we moved him up to the high session during the week, and he played really well. So excited to see how he handles the accelerated speed and skill tonight.
And I bet he's excited to play here tonight. But I'd imagine there's some sort of ounce of pressure in the air. You guys graduated 8 seniors, Captain Colin Heckel, Danny McAuliffe, and Kale Delinsky, who just racked up the points for you guys. Those are some pretty big skates to fill. So what are you looking for them to bring to the table?
Yeah, we lost some studs, but we feel really good about who we brought in. And there's a lot of talent in the chest that really wasn't brought out last year to play with, and I think you'll see a lot of that tonight. So, losing guys like Kale and Heckel and McAuliffe and McGinty, you're not concerned about replacing them. They're irreplaceable parts. But these new kids are going to be just fine, and we have the same expectation this year that we do every year, and that's to win more of these.
And you mentioned about bringing in players. Recruitment has definitely been a key part of this program's success. You guys have improved every single year. But 2 names that really jump out on the roster, Connor Schmidt and Ryan Belanger, coming from NCAA Division I schools. And now I'd imagine they have some sort of leadership responsibility possibly because they're coming from NCAA, correct?
You would think, but these are your kids that just want to come in here and be a part of our program and be a part of our team and win. And do their part. So look, hockey players aren't looking to step on anybody's toes. I think that they'll have and garners and it's some sort of instant respect because of where they came from. But we have our captains, we have our leaders, and as long as they lead by example on the ice, they're doing their job.
Right, and the team is certainly very deep, but I do have to know, as soon as they committed, what was your reaction like?
Well, with Schmitty, it was different because he left Fair State to go back to the USHL. So when he went back to the USHL, he kind of reopened his commitment, and so getting him was a milestone, recruit obviously. And then Belanger was just a gift. I call it a gift from the hockey gods. He's friends with Jordan Young, and it just kind of happened.
All right, well there you have it. It should be fun to watch here tonight, but that'll do it for hockey. Now back to Brett Deckert at the desk.
This past Monday, for the 121st straight year, Working America took a collective day off, patted themselves on the back, and called it Labor Day.
Good job, Working America.
The rest of us woke up just in time for dinner and called it Monday. Now, did you know ASU Athletic Director Ray Anderson has a job?
Figures, he's the athletic director.
Good, because he does have a job, exactly. But he didn't simply take the day off, nor did he just pat himself on the back. Instead, he patted 2 of his employees on the back in the form of contract extensions. The first, men's basketball head coach Herb Sundek. The deal will run through the 2018-19 season. He's going to get a raise on that $1.2 million salary of his. Now, Sundek has sometimes found himself in Sun Devil Nation's doghouse, but the athletic department, and Anderson specifically, has repeatedly backed him up. It's just now they finally put that support on pieces of paper and signed things.
Good for them. Sendek deserves it. We'll get to that later, though. While public support may not be flowing in for Herb Sendek, fans of ASU Women's Basketball have always enjoyed Charlie Turner-Thorne. The 17-year head coach received a $36,000 boost in compensation and, to boot, an extension through the end of the 2018 season. Turner-Thorne has led the Sun Devils to a program-best 9 NCAA tournament appearances during her tenure.
That's a lot of NCAA tournament appearances. I hope with this new contract that we extended out this week to our social media team, we might start making some tournament appearances. That hope, our freshman stud, she's not actually a freshman, she's a junior, I believe.
Yeah. Well.
Adriana Torres in studio. Hi, Adriana, how you doing?
Hey guys, glad to be here. So when I took this social media gig, I had one requirement, and that was to get Jahi Carson on. He's like the CSL version of ESPN's Johnny Manziel. So let's see the first tweet. All right, he's talking about how much he bleeds maroon and gold. The loyal ASU fans love me, and I love them.
Jahi does always have to make his way into our show.
Absolutely. Jahi, remember his League Me tweets?
Yes,
how about this?
League Me.
Can you revise that? Hashtag Australia League Me with where he's going. Can we get that?
His career is headed down under. It's an innuendo, I think.
Well, he's trying to hold on to every last string he can of his college career, but yep, he's headed down under. So let's go to the next tweet. Heading to some football, we'll look at Jalen Strong's tweet here.
You're not Jalen Strong.
Jalen Strong. What did his tweet say? I believe.
The thing is, hold on, this makes just as much sense as what Jalen Strong's tweet says. It doesn't make any sense at all.
Jalen Strong's tweet.
There it is.
There we go.
The underdog.
The underdog. See, I would pick this tweet because I don't really get it. He had a great year last year, was second team All Pac-12. He had a great game against Weber State. Like, I don't get it. How is he the underdog? Is he
I don't think he's saying he's the underdog.
It's bulletin board material for New Mexico.
He's giving
now.
them bulletin board
the
material.
Underdog.
Smart. Really smart, Jalen Strong. My advice: stay off Twitter.
I don't know. I felt it was like he's like having the Drake effect, like started from the bottom, but Drake didn't really start from the bottom. I don't know. He's too good to be the underdog, but I don't get it. But next tweet. Who doesn't love Breaking Bad? Had to put this one in here. Sun Devils going to Albuquerque, New Mexico this weekend. Just a fun tweet.
We took an informal poll of the studio. You said, who doesn't love Breaking Bad?
Yeah.
I don't love Breaking Bad.
And 2 other hands were raised in the studio when that poll was taken, as well as Carrie's. There are now 2 less employed people in the studio. They've been kicked out pretty quickly. I would fire Carrie, but I can't.
I don't watch television,
at
so
all.
I will be headed to New Mexico later, my first taste of what Breaking Bad is like.
So you're going to be on television and you don't watch television.
Just watch like the first 2 episodes, then
and you'll
be good. You'll
That's
get
true.
it. You'll get why
Season
that tweet was
5
amazing.
is actually definitely the best.
Touche. Thank you, Adriana.
Yeah.
Appreciate your time. Now we turn from the net to the pitch, where the ASU Women's Soccer team has a big weekend ahead. Coach Kevin Boyd's squad is hosting the Sun Devil Classic in Tempe and will face a familiar foe. Here to bring you all the info are WCSN soccer reporters Mauricio Casillas and Andrew Chapman.
Thanks, Carrie. Now, like you said, they're back at it again, back in Tempe. But before the Sun Devil soccer team came to Tempe, they went around the world 9,000 miles on that road trip. They got a 2-1-1 record. What would you say your assessment of the team is, Andrew?
Well, you know, so far the offense is looking great. They have the 2nd best goals per game average in the Pac-12 right now. But when I was at practice earlier this week talking to Coach Kevin Boyd, he was quite a bit on the fence about the defense right now. So far, he said the team is just leaking too many goals, whether it be through set pieces, defensive miscues, or just a lack of positioning. And it's been apparent on the field. The Sun Devils have been unable to shut out any of their opponents so far this year, giving up a goal in all 4 of their preseason games thus far. So really, Coach Boyd, he's been putting a complete emphasis on defense this year. He wants to be able to repossess the ball quicker and then turn it into a counterattack on offense. So right now, the defense is the main focus.
Now, that first game of the Sun Devil Soccer Classic is against Oklahoma State right now at 4 p.m. Andrew, what do you see from that game?
Well, this is a team that comes into Tempe tonight 0-4, but don't let that deceive you. So far, they have played all 4 opponents that are ranked in the top 25 in the U.S. They've played Arkansas, Oklahoma, Florida, and Florida State, who is second in the country. Oklahoma managed to take them all the way to double overtime, lost 2-1 in that game, but this is a team that should not be played lightly. They're expected to be 3rd in the Big 12 this year. So Oklahoma definitely a team that ASU is going to need to implement the stuff they worked on in practice this year and really score first. ASU 17-0-1 when scoring first since 2012. They don't lose when they score first. Get the ball in the net quickly. That's what they need to do tonight.
Now, Oklahoma State, while they have the potential to be a really good team, is not like Texas A&M, the number 6 team in the country, which ASU is playing on Sunday. Now, these 2 teams have a bit of history between each other, don't they? Yeah, well, ASU is going from a team that's 0-4 to playing a team that's 4-0 on Sunday. ASU played them last year. They headed to College Station, Texas, to play Texas A&M on their home turf. They lost 3-1 in that game. Callie Farquharson scored the only goal for Texas A&M. And then now Kelly Montague is the main person that ASU is going to have to look after for Texas A&M. You think Allie Moon's numbers are impressive, 4 goals and an assist. We're talking Kelly Montague, 5 goals and 3 assists. She's managed to put up 13 points already in just 4 games. So very impressive for her. ASU is going to have to look after her, and they're going to need a little bit of luck on their side as well. ASU won 5-1 against all Texas schools since 2010. So a little bit of luck, watch after that main score, and hopefully have a couple tallies in the win column after this weekend. Well, certainly going to be a tough test for the Sun Devils this weekend, but they're finally back in Tempe, as I mentioned earlier. Oklahoma State game at 4 p.m. on the Pac-12 networks, and then on Sunday they're playing Texas A&M again on the Pac-12 networks. But that does it for us. Back to Brett at the desk.
The University of New Mexico ran for 410 yards and threw just 9 passes in their opening week home loss to Texas El Paso. I'll repeat that. The New Mexico Lobos ran for 410 yards and threw just 9 passes last week. Why? The triple option. Georgia Tech used it to win the ACC in 2009, but they also had Demarius Thomas, who, you know, was kind of good. In an era in which speed and points are most important and time of possession, what is that? The Lobos are the exception. How can Todd Graham make sure his young guns don't get exposed by this offense? Here's Kerry Crowley and Jacob Garcia with your answer.
Thanks, Brett. The ASU football team coming off a 45-14 victory over the Weber State Wildcats last week. Jake, this week they turn the page, take on a completely different opponent in the New Mexico Lobos. The reason for the difference is Weber State, an offensive team that loves to spread teams out. They ran a lot of 5-receiver sets, empty backfields, challenged the Sun Devils in the passing game. Meanwhile, New Mexico, famous for its triple option offense under Bob Davie, a run-heavy team. Like Brett said, they only passed 9 times in last week's contest. Now, ASU, New Mexico, Weber State, 3 very different teams. What can ASU gain from last week's Weber State game that they can take in to this New Mexico game?
Well, let's take a look at some of the footage from last week's game against Weber State. We'll pick it up in the second quarter, and notice that ASU has 7 guys lined up on the line of scrimmage. That's different from their normal defensive set in which they only have 4. Key guy to watch here is defensive end Marcus Washington. He's going to blow this play up in the backfield. He is only enabled to do that because of the commotion that the other 6 guys on the line of scrimmage create. So ASU shows that they can stop the run by changing up their defensive schemes. That's exactly what they'll have to do this week.
19-9. That's the Sun Devils' record under Todd Graham. 28 games so far, 29th coming up tomorrow. However, a key stat in those 28 games, 1-0. Where does that stat come from? ASU's record against teams that run the triple option. You harken back to 2012, the Navy midshipmen Craft Fight Hunger Bowl. It was a fun one for the Sun Devils, a 62-28 victory. That day, Todd Graham devised a scheme that shut down Keenan Reynolds and the Navy midshipmen. And Jake, if they were able to shut them down then, if they were able to shut down Weber State in the goal line, how can they shut down this New Mexico offense?
Well, thankfully, Kerry, we have a whiteboard that was handfully rolled into us. So you take a look at this, how you defend the triple option. The first thing that jumps out is the fact that ASU has 6 guys on the line of scrimmage. Again, they only normally have 4 up there. This spur linebacker normally plays up here with the Sam and the Will linebacker. He'll be brought down to face the triple option. And then this corner will also be on the line of scrimmage. He's going to contain this outermost boundary right here. So the goal of the triple option, their first option, is to hand the ball off to this dive backer who's going to roll right off the center. Now, New Mexico is going to realize that they don't have numbers on this play because ASU has two guys, the defensive end and the defensive tackle, on this assignment. Their job is to stop the ball right here. New Mexico is going to realize that they have to exploit their other options, so quarterback will fake the handoff and proceed to roll outside. Now, pay attention right here because this is the most important part in defending the triple option. The spur linebacker has to fight off the block that is coming from this wide receiver right here and make an open field tackle on the quarterback in space. It's an incredibly difficult job, but ASU has guys who are up to the task. Now, once New Mexico realizes that the spur linebacker is executing his job, they'll exploit the third option. This running back is going to roll outside right here and be ready for this pitch from the quarterback. The cornerback, however, will have that assignment for ASU. It's probably going to be Lloyd Carrington because he's the most experienced group of the bunch. He'll have to, again, fight through this block and make an open field tackle right here. It looks incredibly difficult on paper to execute, but ASU has the personnel to do it. If you guys execute their critical assignments, they'll achieve some success.
Well, let's take one more look at the whiteboard right here, Jake. It seems to me that the spur has the most challenging assignment. Would that be right? That's
Undoubtedly right. And we'll look at the graphic right here. ASU has two guys who are going to step up into that spur position. They're normally safeties. They've been converted to spur for this specific game. Both are incredibly inexperienced, but both have the size that profiles for a spur linebacker spot.
One of them, Liu Mokiola, last year a safety. He got the first start of the season at the spur linebacker spot against the Weber State Wildcats, played particularly well, got a half a tackle in the backfield. That's what they're looking for him to do this week. And now ASU made another personnel change, as you saw on the graphic. Jake, Marcus Ball goes from the safety position up to the line of scrimmage, playing the spur. Why did Todd Graham make that move?
Well, like you said, he's normally a safety, but he profiles for a little bit bigger than an actual safety does. So he's going to supply some reps to back up Mokiola in that spur linebacker position. This is an incredibly difficult task to perform given the fact that New Mexico ran for 410 yards against UTEP last week. But Coach Todd Graham has been emphasizing execute individual assignments and you'll have success as an entire unit.
Well, the Lobos could be without quarterback Cole Gaucha. They could be without wide receiver Carlos Wiggins. They love to give him the ball on a speed sweep. ASU will have an advantage there, but we'll find out once and for all tomorrow night if the Sun Devils can stop that vaunted triple option of the Lobos. That game comes your way 4 o'clock local time on CBS Sports Network. Brett, back to you at the desk.
Thank you, Kerry. Just some quick volleyball news. Last night, the 17th-ranked Sun Devil team technically opened their season with a scrimmage against Mount Royal University from Canada. First set started off kind of slow, 29-27. The Sun Devils pulled it off and then massively turned it around. Whitney Follett came in with 10 kills, 6 blocks on the night. She was the big anchor. Now the Sun Devils are back in action again today. They're in action right now, actually. They're 2 sets up in the match and winning 14-7 right now. That's going on the Pac-12 digital broadcast. You can head to pac12.com for that one. Kerry's back, but you can't see him yet. Here he is.
Let's get me back here, Brett. It was a long walk.
It was a long walk. How are the kids?
The kids are doing so well. You saw Jake. He's all grown up now.
Jake, I love that.
He's so evolved as a kid.
Remember him when he was just this big.
Oh. It brings me back. It brings me back. Let's move on to one of our other favorite children who we've seen grown up on the set with us, and that's Adriana Torres. She's coming back, just like me, for this debate segment.
Can't wait to see her grow even more. How are you doing, Adriana?
I'm still good. Let's get right into it, into the debate. But with the topic that you guys started off the show with, basketball. Did Sendick and Turner Thorne deserve their extensions?
All right, I think we're going to half agree here because I think everyone in the Valley would half agree here. At least agree on one thing. Turner Thorne deserved it. Herb Sendek, I understand he's probably the best coach in program history, but does the program want to settle for 2 tournament appearances in 9 years? That's my question. Kerry, do they want to settle for that? Do you want to settle for that?
I think that Herb Sendek does deserve the extension because extensions mean nothing to college coaches right now. Buyouts happen all the time. ASU, we know it has the money. It's a recruiting tool, and you saw how it worked this week. ASU picked up, heralded Marcus Howard of Gilbert Perry High School. Could be a top 50 recruit in the country come 2017. It's a recruiting tool. It worked this week. It could work into the future. Let's let it ride.
My point just went, Kerry won.
Well, let's give it to Adriana.
All right.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go with Kerry on that one. Sendick is one of the big names that stays with the team throughout the years. Go with Kerry, point for him.
All right.
Second question. Will ASU football cover the 27-point spread this weekend in New Mexico?
Yes, they will. What was with everyone thinking that ASU did not dominate last week? They were up 31-0 with their starters at halftime. Yeah, Weber State isn't really New Mexico, but New Mexico isn't really anybody else. ASU wants to prove themselves this week. They're going to do it. They're going to come out firing. You know, people saying, oh, they didn't really pound out on Weber State. No, this is the week they're going to do it.
A 27-point spread, Brett. Last week, ASU was favored by 51 over Weber State. They only scored 45 points. You can't win by 51 if you score 45.
They were on pace for 62.
New Mexico runs the ball. That's the difference. 9 passing plays. This team eats up the clock. Unlike so many other teams in college football, it's going to be hard for ASU to get that 27-point advantage. That's why I say the Sun Devils win, but they don't cover.
All right.
All right, I'm going to have to go with Carrie again on this one.
Can I make a
boom
comeback?
Goes the dynamite.
Is it possible to make a comeback?
I don't know.
Do we have 2-point questions?
I think I'm not saying New Mexico's amazing and Sun Devils are still going to win, but I think it's going to be closer than 27. So Carrie with that point. Last question. ASU hockey came off national championship last year. How will they finish the season this year?
I think there's really only one answer. Yes. Look at the team last year. Sure, they lost a lot of seniors, notably Kel Dolinsky and Colin Heckel. But look at the recruits they bring in, a bunch of NCAA guys this season. They were the best team by far last year. They shouldn't have even lost a game. I don't know if undefeated is in the realm of possibility, but they're still the best team in the country right now.
You use logic, I use heart. I'm scared of Greg Powers. He's here in studio. I don't want to say that he's not going to win the national championship. Did you see his biceps on
I
camera?
see those biceps.
My
Did you see that power stance?
I am going to say that they're going to win the national championship. Ryan Belonger, top recruit in program history, coming to the Sun Devils. He helps leads them back to back, this time in Salt Lake City.
Well, I guess it doesn't matter now that Carrie won it, but for fun points, I'm going to give it to Brett.
I don't want fun points. I want winning points.
Winning is fun. I won. Thank you, Adriana.
I don't want to score. I don't want to be Weber State tacking on 14 points at the end of the game. I want those winning points.
Maybe next week.
All right. Well, next week, Adriana won't be around. How about that? Contract terminated. Get off the screen. We've got only one thing left to do in this show. It's 3 top plays. We got to fit it in right now. Here we go. Number 3, we start right away. M&G game last night, tic-tac-toe. Jason Kuda, right in front of the slot. We'll watch it again in slow motion. It goes 1, 2, 3, and there he was. He sat in the slot, waited for it, sent it past Matt Inglis. Hopefully, Kuda makes the team.
Number 2, back to Oceanside Arena. I can smell the pretzels here in studio. Liam Puis, watch him zig through the defense. He beats the keeper. That's Alec Taylor. Pushes Maroons lead 2-1. Zig, zag, zing. For the goal.
And he takes home some Oceanside pretzels. Here's your top play.
They fumble, then they could have done so.
4th and goal, Weber State is going. Zach Smith up the middle, denied.
Marcus Washington stops Zach Smith on 4th and goal in the second quarter. I don't know about you, but I'd say if they didn't get this play, they might not win the football game.
I heard it. Arizona State's going to win the football game. Everyone heard it and saw it. We knew at that point, 17-0, that goal line stand early in the second quarter. The Sun Devils were going to blow past the FCS opponent.
That's a season changer right there. All right, that's it for this show. But tonight, you can catch on CronkiteSports.com live broadcast of the Maroon and Gold Division I game. You saw in that 2 and 3 top plays right there. That was from last night, Division II. Tonight, your D1 players, the big guys you're going to want to see on the ice. No more Colin Heckel, Kel Dolinsky, like we said, but some other big guns.
And there's Greg Powers. He's back. He'll be in a nice suit, just like us. He dresses a little nicer than we do, so.
Debatable. Debatable. Maybe you.
Well, I'm the one who's winning the debates, so. That's enough.
I'll leave it to you then. That's it. That's it for this show. Thanks for joining us. I'm Brett Deckert alongside Kerry Crowley. He's not over there. He's here this time. Have a good one.